Because it isn't my destiny to win the belt. It is my destiny to help my friend win it.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 unanswered How I Met Your Mother questions.
What happened next? Did you do it?
Doesn't seem right to talk about it.
For this list, we'll be looking at storylines that were left open-ended or we never got an answer to throughout the show's 9 seasons, and deleted scenes that answer these lingering questions need not apply. Because we'll be discussing pivotal points in the show, a spoiler alert is in effect. Did you see something that you wish you would have gotten an answer to? Let us know in the comments. Number 20. Where did that final blue French horn come from? In the pilot, Ted steals a blue French horn from the restaurant for Robin when they go on a date.
Pull over right here. I gotta do something. Excuse me? Pardon me? Just a second. Enjoy your coffee. Hey!
Later, Ted and Robin are forced to return the horn to the restaurant as they decide they're on different paths. So, with a controversial final move by Ted, he gets back with Robin and brings her a blue French horn to represent the start of their new love story. Symbolism, we see you. But where did Ted get the horn? The restaurant kept theirs locked up after the incident. Did Ted buy and paint one? Or did he have one hanging around for when he decided to go for it? I guess we'll need yet another spin-off to find out. Number 19. What happened to Lily's debt?
How do you afford all of these expensive clothes?
I shopped the sales. They were in the closet when we moved in. I steal. I'm a criminal.
Remember that time Lily was a shopaholic with massive credit card debt? Neither do Carter Bays and Craig Thomas, apparently. Back in season 3, we learned that Lily secretly harbors a compulsive spending problem and the unpaid bills to back it up. This became a particular complication when she and Marshall needed a loan for their extravagant Doisa Tripla apartment.
It's fine to penalize me for trying to get an education and build a career, but I will not let you deprive my beautiful wife of her dream home just because
Actually, it's because of your wife's credit card debt.
But the show never explains when, how, or if these hefty dues are ever paid. We know that they both go on to have successful careers, but they also exorbitantly live abroad and raise 3 children. Considering the gravity of this conflict when it was introduced, it seems like a huge oversight that this potentially life-changing issue was never resolved.
$10 says I can do it backwards.
So Lily and Marshall decided to make the best of a bad situation.
Number 18. What happened to Bernice? Bernice is the older woman who sits next to Ted at the train station on the night he meets his future wife.
You look like you're coming from a wedding. Was it a nice one?
It's a long story.
She hears Ted talk about the dreamy bass player from the wedding before she points out that the girl he's describing is standing just a few feet from them. She's more excited about the two of them meeting than Ted is, saying she'll sing at their wedding and hoping that said wedding is a big one.
Go talk to her. Oh, and it'll all be because of me, and I'll sing at your wedding. You are gonna have a big wedding, right?
She encourages Ted to go meet her, and the rest is history. So, did she end up singing at their wedding? Did they ever track her down and thank her for helping bring them together? We need justice for Bernice. Number 17. Did Marshall get the security deposit back?
Ted, since we're clearly not getting our security deposit back, I thought maybe you could reimburse me for my half.
Wait a second, why should I have to pay more than you?
Because you've treated this apartment the way John Bonham treated his central nervous system?
Throughout the many years that the gang lived in the apartment above McLaren's, there were a number of mishaps that left the place in less than pristine condition. In a season 4 episode, Marshall and Ted reminisce about how everything got damaged, including Barney punching a hole in the wall, and Ted's bookshelf giving and ripping the wall apart. Ted initially volunteers to pay for the damage deposit when they all move out, but plans change and it's actually Lily and Marshall who finally turn in the keys to the apartment many years later.
Love your place.
Thanks. It was a total score. We got it from this old married couple who posted it on the Wesleyan alumni group. We even got them to leave their swords.
Did they get their deposit back? Since almost every member of the gang caused damage, did they at least split the cost? Number 16. Did Super Freakonomics make it big? The mother of Ted's children had her own band called Super Freakonomics, where she was the bass player and also did some singing.
I really wanted to meet you. I'm a huge fan of your band, Super Freakonomics.
Oh my gosh, really?
Really?
Her ex-roommate Cindy even told Ted that they were the greatest wedding band in the tri-state area. So what happened to the band after Barney and Robin's wedding? Tracy goes on to be a successful author in the field of economics, but nothing is said about what happened to her band.
And it's going to be everyone congratulating you on your book, saying, this is a revelation. You're going to end poverty in our time. This is the greatest book anyone's ever written in any genre.
Did they eventually disband even though they finally got rid of Darren? Did they still play occasional gigs? Or were they a huge success? Let's be real, we are given a criminally low amount of information about the titular mother, and we need answers. Number 15. Why is future Ted Bob Saget? Ted is in his late 20s at the start of the show, which means he's already well into his adult life. So why is another actor voicing him in the future? There's a 25-year age gap between the start of the show and when he's telling the story back to his kids, but his voice couldn't have changed that much.
I thought this was how you met Mom.
Will you relax? I'm getting to it. Like I said, it's a long story.
We love Bob Saget, and his voice and demeanor are fitting to Ted's personality, but why couldn't Ted himself have been the narrator? Like Peter Griffin pointed out, he's not going to grow up to be Bob Saget, which we saw in the finale as the Ted we know ended up narrating the final moments. So what was that about?
Yeah, what's really weird to me is why is the voice of the guy from the future Bob Saget? I mean, the guy on the show, he's already an adult. So it's not like he's gonna grow into Bob Saget.
Number 14. Did Ted ride the tricycle? Ted tells his kids that there are some stories you tell and some you don't, but we gots to know the answer to this one. When Barney and Marshall refuse to join Ted at the bar, he meets up with his previous hookup from the pineapple incident, Trudy, and her former sorority sister Rachel.
You're so funny. I think Ted is funny.
Really?
I think Ted is hilarious.
Luckily for Ted, not only are they both into him, they are both very competitive with one another. There are lots of obstacles that prevent Ted from riding the tricycle, thanks to his friends and also his own fear, and we never find out if he does it or not. Barney even tries to tempt him with the three-way belt, but Ted leaves this question unanswered forever.
Ted, belt. Did you? Or didn't you? Didn't tell me, please.
Number 13. What happened to Robin's friends? In the first episode, Ted falls for Robin at McLaren's, where she reveals that she's hanging out with her friends after one of them got dumped.
Oh, your friends don't seem too happy.
Yeah, see, the one in the middle just got dumped by her boyfriend, so tonight, every guy is the enemy.
You know, if it don't make your friend feel better, you could throw a drink in my face. I don't mind.
But once she starts hanging out with Marshall, Ted, Lily, and Barney, she doesn't seem to hang out with anyone else. She gets jealous when Lily hangs out with coworkers, no one shows up to her bachelorette party, and when she tries to make friends with other women, she struggles.
That's my 14-year-old daughter.
Crappy mom alert. Ugh, it's you. Nice bangs.
So what was up with that group of gal pals we saw in the pilot? If she ditched them that fast for this new gang of pals, it's no wonder she had a hard time holding on to friends. Number 12. How did Robin become a bullfighter?
But she did become a famous journalist, a successful businesswoman, a world traveler. She was even briefly a bullfighter. That's a funny story. I'll get to that one later.
Future Ted loves to tease some future storylines through his narration. While he always seems to circle back to these foreshadows, there's one that never got an explanation. When Ted tries to cheer Robin up, he puts on a Christmas light show for her in their apartment. During the festive display, Ted narrates how Robin goes on to do great things in her life. And one of the things he mentions is how she was briefly a bullfighter. But this never gets brought up again. Yes, a deleted scene from the finale and a conversation during Robin's cameo on How I Met Your Father do include conversations about it, but the core show seemed to have forgotten about this.
Seriously? It was so badass.
Well, it was bad for my ass. The ER doc in Seville spent 6 hours tweezing bullhorn fragments from my left butt cheek.
Number 11. Who was Ted's perfect match? Ted is nothing if not a romantic, and his journey to find his soulmate is equal parts exhausting and inspiring. So when he finds out that the dating website he signed up for got him a perfect match, we thought he had finally found the one.
Her favorite food was lasagna, her favorite book was Love in the Time of Cholera, her favorite singer was Otis Redding, and she wanted 2 kids, a boy and a girl.
All right, fine. Set it up.
She checks every box, including her age, favorite book, and desire to have 2 kids. But when Ted realizes that he'd rather have Robin than any seemingly perfect girl, he stands her up. Because of this, we never get to learn who Ted's perfect match was. And we're disappointed that this never got brought up in a storyline later in the show.
I want Robin. Oh, God, not this again, Ted. It's a mistake. Maybe. But it's a mistake I have to make.
Number 10. How did Marshall save the world?
Barney, Marshall didn't quit his last soul-sucking corporate job just to go work at a bank. He's gonna be an environmental lawyer.
Since Marshall was a kid, he dreamed of becoming an environmental lawyer and saving the world. But when he finally did become an environmental lawyer, it wasn't exactly what he expected.
Look at what's happening to the environment, and we're here doing the limbo? Man, we should be ashamed of ourselves.
His own boss was discouraged and accepted minuscule court settlements. That is, until Marshall inspired him to fight the good fight again. After a major win over an evil corporation, Marshall says that they're going to save the planet, and future Ted assures us that they did.
We're gonna save the planet.
And kids, as we now know, they did.
Yet, throughout the rest of Marshall's career, he goes back and forth between corporate and environmental law. Though he eventually becomes a judge, we never get to see exactly what Marshall did that saved the world.
Judging Queens is retiring, so I'm gonna be a judge.
Number 9. Does the gang keep in touch regularly?
Wow. A genuine Sherbatsky sighting out in nature. At this point, that's like seeing Sasquatch.
Future Ted has admitted that as the gang grew older, they drifted a bit. Whenever he's talking to his kids, though, he still calls them all aunts and uncles, so they obviously still see each other on holidays, birthdays, and of course, Slapsgiving. But there was also a huge portion of the finale dedicated to Robin disappearing from the group, and they barely saw her.
Here we are again. Another big moment for us, and Robin's missing it.
However, at Ted and Tracy's wedding, everyone seems to be okay with each other again.
You RSVP'd no.
I did. But someone pretty persuasive talked me into it.
So, even though they may not speak daily anymore, hopefully that means at least every now and then the gang reunites and closes down McLaren's. Number 8. Did the mother have a doppelganger? It's a long-running joke throughout the series that every member of the gang has a doppelganger.
There was lesbian Robin. There was mustache Marshall. And of course, stripper Lily.
In fact, finding stripper Lily, Mexican wrestler Ted, and Barney's Dr. John Stengel all happened at very crucial times in their lives.
Wow! It is like looking into a poorly dressed mirror.
This begs the question, did the mother have a doppelganger? When she became an official member of the gang, it only stands to reason that they might be in search of her doppelganger.
I guess I'm old-fashioned. I believe that each of us only gets one. And I got mine already.
There have been entire episodes and story arcs around finding the doppelgangers, but even just a quick flash forward to meeting the mothers would have been awesome. Or maybe she was just one of a kind.
Your heart and soul to me, and life will raise me.
Number 7. What happened in Rome?
All right, we're going to Italy.
See!
In the final season, we got to see quite a bit into the gang's future, but we never got to see what happened in Rome. Throughout the show, we saw most of the characters grow in their lives and careers, so we feel a little cheated that we never saw Lily thrive when she finally got her dream job. In some short clips, Lily obviously did well. We just wish we got to see a bit more of her Roman adventure.
Mickey! Andiamo a mangiare il gelato! È un'idea fantastica!
Also, what did Marshall end up doing in Rome? Lily was working, their parents were looking after the kids. Did Marshall just sit around all day eating Funyuns? We want to know.
Ti amo, fratello, non mastriani tutti i Funyuns.
Non mi li sto papando tutti. C'è un altro sacchetto in cucina.
Number 6. Who was number 31?
Congratulations, Papa.
Stop it! This is a disaster!
It seems like the show's finale arguably raised way more questions than it answered. While the long-held secret of the mother of Ted's kids was finally over, a new mystery mother was introduced. In an effort to one-up his perfect week, Barney beat his record with a perfect month, but then girl number 31 got pregnant, and Barney became a father.
That last girl, number 31.
Oh, that's a pretty name. What is that, French?
She's pregnant.
In true Barney fashion, he never spoke her name aloud, and we have no idea who she is.
Number 31 won't let me in the delivery room.
We're gonna need a name eventually.
We got a short glimpse of her in a deleted scene from the finale, but considering how much the birth of his daughter touched Barney's heart, we feel we should have gotten the chance to meet the mother.
You are the love of my life.
Number 5. Why did Ted and Tracy wait so long to get married? Ted proposed to Tracy twice, once at the lighthouse, and again 5 years later after the birth of their daughter.
Will you marry me on Thursday? I called your office, you got nothing on Thursday. Will you marry me on Thursday?
Yes.
For a guy so desperate to get married, he certainly waited a long time before actually tying the knot.
Hey, so are you guys ever gonna tie the knot, or are you just comfortable living in sin?
Someone's gotten a bit judgy.
We get the irony of how Ted sort of went backwards in his life. First he bought the house, then had a baby, then got married. But this doesn't really mesh with his personality, which begs the question, did something specific happen to push off their wedding?
We'll get around to it. It's just, with life and jobs and kids. Plus, this one's still insisting on getting married in a French castle.
Maybe, like Marshall and Lily having a baby, they were waiting to meet the mother's doppelganger as a sign that it was finally time. We'll never know.
I can't believe it. It's Ted Mosby's wedding day.
Yes! After only 7 years and 2 kids. Guys, am I rushing into this?
Number 4. Mugger or monkey?
All right, look, the reason that I don't have any money on me is because I got mugged.
Getting mugged in New York is no laughing matter, except maybe when you're mugged by a monkey. When Marshall arrived at the bar with a harrowing story of how he got mugged in Central Park, Lily decided to buy a gun for safety, so Marshall changed his story to him actually being mugged by a monkey from the zoo.
Watch it, don't get any closer.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool.
Naturally, when the rest of the gang heard this version of the story, they ruthlessly made fun of him.
I got mugged by a monkey.
Marshall flip-flopped between both stories, driving the gang, and all of us, crazy over which story is fact or fiction.
I wasn't mugged by a monkey.
He never gave us the answer.
Ted, you've known him the longest. Is he telling the truth?
I can't tell.
Number 3. What disease did the mother have? This 9-season epic was, in theory, the tale of how Ted met the mother of his children. But when we finally did meet her, we only spent such little time with her, and apparently so did Ted.
I mean, come on. Yeah, of course she showed up. What mother is going to miss her daughter's wedding?
In a wildly controversial twist, it was revealed that the mother developed some sort of disease that ended tragically in her death.
Right from the moment I met your mom, I knew I have to love this woman as much as I can, for as long as I can, and I can never stop loving her, not even for a second.
However, we never found out which illness she actually had. The natural assumption might be cancer, but since it's never said in the show, we can't know for sure.
Even then, in what can only be called the worst of times, all I could do was thank God.
Number 2. What was the cockamouse?
Oh my God! It's the cockamouse!
Is it a cockroach? Is it a mouse? Is it some sort of hybrid species of the two? How can it fly? So many questions left unanswered. An early episode brought us one of the show's first and best unsolved mysteries. One day in the apartment, Marshall and Lily came across the meanest looking mouse you've ever seen. Or was it a cockroach? According to Marshall and Lily, it was a cockamouse.
It's a whole new species, the cockamouse.
And it's the size of a potato.
They eventually came out on top in a battle for the apartment when, after attempts to kill it proved futile, they threw it out the window. In a later episode, it's revealed that the cockamouse survived and bred. Should we be terrified?
It used to live in our apartment. It must have settled here, and oh, look, it had babies. Good for it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Where did Ted get the pineapple? Of course, the infamous pineapple incident. After getting blackout drunk, Ted wakes up with no memory, a sprained ankle, a woman in his bed, and a pineapple.
There's a girl in your bed.
And a pineapple? Am I the only one who's curious about the pineapple?
As he pieces together what happened, all of these questions are answered except the most pressing one, the pineapple. Even Trudy is no help with this one.
Damn it, Trudy, what about the pineapple? Sorry.
But like Ted says, some stories are better left untold, especially if we're to accept the contrived answer to the pineapple incident revealed in a deleted scene. Thankfully, it never aired, so we're still calling this one of the greatest unanswered questions.
Oh, and we never found out where that pineapple came from, but it was delicious.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.